My name's Flament. I'm from Utica, New York, born in Brooklyn, New York.
My name is Flament, originally from upstate New York. Landed in the Midwest after a 3-year overseas tour while Corey was still serving in the Navy. We were like homesick, if you will. Just wanted to get back to the U.S. We looked at a piece of paper and we're like, when and where are we going that has borders open the quickest?
It came for orders, and the only place that was available was St. Louis, Missouri. And, what is in St. Louis, Missouri? The only thing we could think of was the Arch. And then the next thing we thought of after some prayers and things like that was this would be the place that we start our first restaurant. And I'll be honest, being in the military, I kind of started having these reservations where this might not be the smart thing to do. When it came time for me to do it, I started to get nervous, scared, and I just, was honestly telling her hey, I don't think now's the right time. We shouldn't do it now. And something in her just said, no, now is the time.
We signed our lease agreement back in March of 2015. We didn't open our doors until September of 2015. So that was a long, turbulent time for us. And every Sunday we were at church, at Faith Family, and we were just listening to how are we going to get through this? What direction do you want us to go?
But somehow when we first opened, it just all came together, and I made that first batch of dough. It turned out right. We made that first batch of sauce, pretty much just kind of winging it as we went along. And we're like, well, this is our pizza. We opened the next day, and we did a pay what you want type of deal, where, the customer comes in and they just pay whatever they want. We had bills we had to pay, right? And after that first day, we had enough money to pay rent. It was really exciting when we finally got both locations to be profitable. O'Fallon no longer had to pay for St. Louis. Things were looking good. When you see that happen, it kind of, solidifies the fact that you have a winning product. It shows that your business design is ready to replicate. You start thinking okay, what cities around us need a FlamentCo as a place? How are we gonna get more pizza to more people? Those things start going through your mind. And then pandemic hits. It was definitely stressful at first, because when everything went down, it was just oh my God, what are we gonna do? What's gonna happen? We based a lot of actually moving into this location based on the government business down here. We have a lot of federal buildings, a lot of courthouses. We had the Cardinals, and then we're coming off of the Blues winning the Stanley Cup, where we had this restaurant where there was lines out the door, there was people everywhere. We, built it up for the business district, and business was definitely on an uptick, and we actually had a contract that we were going to sign a week before the pandemic hit with the Blues. So we were going to be in the Blues Stadium this year. And then a week before we were going to sign, the food director over at the stadium calls and tells us, hey, we're shutting this thing down due to COVID. We're kind of a little bit disappointed at first. We're like, okay, well, all right, I guess it's not our time for that, right?
So we quickly, felt the impact. We had news channels trying to, how do you feel about it? And we're just if the government's telling us to close, we're gonna close.
So we have one location that's thriving, one location that's barely surviving, and now we're at the point where we're trying to balance out our time, our resources. Me me and my wife kind of thought like, okay, now is the time to kind of just maybe cut our losses on St. Louis before it gets too bad. O'Fallon's doing well, you know, God's providing. And then you kind of thought, well, you know what? If we're good, we're good. You know, we'll make sure we keep our employees paid, and we'll keep our location open. We were pretty much almost like 6 months behind on the rent here. No business. City shut us down pretty much. And we're a week away from opening this location back up to where we can get some revenue coming back in. And literally the night before we open, a car hits this building, crashes in through the front of this building, and we're pretty much put on a standstill for another 4 weeks.
It was definitely disappointing, but at the same time, I'm just glad that the driver of the car was okay.
The news came out and talked to us and said, hey, how do you feel that, you know, you're about to open your restaurant and someone smacked through your business right before you were gonna open? And, you know, I almost wanted to play into that whole, like, you know, it sucked, you know, it was the worst thing to happen. But then my wife turns and she says, I'm just thankful that the person that was driving is okay. That ended up being a blessing because now we were able to claim insurance for that. So it helped us.
Faith has meant everything to me. It has helped us get through so many obstacles, personal and within the business.
What has encouraged us? A solid routine, going to church, staying committed to our faith, just staying focused on the bigger picture.
We've been going to Faith Family for 6 years, and it is a blessing. I love going and just listening to what Pastor Rick has to say. I think he is super funny. Pastor Margie, they go so well together.
It seemed like every time we would get like in this little rut where we're like, I don't know, I think that maybe we should close it up, we should stop before we're before we're in deep trouble or whatever the case may be. And it's like every time the message would be something that told us to keep pushing, to hang on a little tighter, that what we're meant to do is not fully there yet.
It always hits on what we're going through. It's just like, thank you, Jesus. Like, thank you for that. I needed it. It's whatever hurdle we're approaching or whatever obstacle is in our way, it's just exactly what we need.
So it's like, you know, another message you hear in church a lot is like, God will provide when He needs to. That is absolutely true. We were tested. We thought, like, you know, one location's drowning, dying pretty much because there's no business, and the other location skyrockets.
We had lines out the door.
You know, people start coming out of, it seemed like the woodwork, you know, to order pizza, and we started getting like slammed over there.
I feel like our numbers are up in O'Fallon to support St. Louis. And O'Fallon started donating meals and giving it, you know, whoever was getting fired or felt stressed, or I just felt like, who am I to judge? If you need something, let me know.
The biggest thing is just being there for one another, loving each other.
What the future holds, we're going to continue our path and take over the Midwest. We have a lot of growth, a strong team behind us, and our hope is for things to go back to normal.
I feel like we're on this earth for a purpose. We're on this earth together to help each other, to share with each other, to you know, pick each other up.
Before the pandemic, we were working on getting into the Enterprise Center, and I feel like that's a promise that was laid on us, and with due time and, you know, continue on our course, we'll get that. We'll get back to that plus more.